Hi
Hello.
everyone. greetings
Hi.
again. We're still in Bali.
Good evening.
Yeah,
Good
good
afternoon.
evening.
Good
Evening, right? Evening. Alright. Okay.
evening.
It was a very long ride lah. Okay, I'm still feeling the nauseous out of it.
Okay.
Yeah, but you have to start working now. Okay, this is the second part of our trip. Okay,
Yes.
we're still in Bali, but we are at a different part of Bali itself. Okay, and yeah, so from this moment onwards, it will be work.
Yes, I was just thinking when we arrived here, this is actually the yin part of our trip. Because
Yeah.
before this, we were in the Kuta area, the happening area down in the southern part of the island, right, which is known for all the, parties,
The happening stuff.
shopping,
Yeah.
having fun and all that. So that was very yang, right?
Yeah.
Even when we were in Ubud, because I've not been to Ubud except for this trip, we were there for 2-day trips on 2 different days. I also found it, you could feel the yin if you really feel it, but then overall, because it's so developed, and there's so
It's
many
still-
shops,
It's still yang.
it's still very yang, right? So I was actually expecting Ubud to be very idyllic, and all that, but it really wasn't.
Yeah.
So today we have moved way north.
Way north, yes. Good northeast. Okay,
Yeah,
slightly
northeast, right?
Yeah, but it is like totally very away from the southern part of Bali itself.
Right.
And once you're here, the energy is like I can see it's like Mount Batu is that big,
Yeah,
big huge
right.
mountain right in front,
Right in
okay, and
front.
you can see the sea, okay,
Yes.
which is behind us.
Yes.
Yeah, I guess people are setting up for yoga as well, okay? So that's why we are trying to keep our volume as low as possible. Hopefully they can't hear us from afar, but just to check out with all of you here, those
Yes.
are tuning in. Hi,
Yeah.
Shuk Yi, okay? Just
Hi,
let us
Shuk Yi.
know whether you can hear us, okay? If we maintain at this volume.
Also, just to take note that this is again a dual broadcast, which we've been doing ever since our travels when we are going into a longer session of Facebook Live like today. Right, so hi to the people on the Jessie Lee page on Facebook, and then also hi to the people who are on the Kong Yu public figure page as well on Facebook, right? So you will see our eye contact going on 2 different cameras as we speak. Okay, just so you know, yeah. But anything you like to ask, anything you like to contribute, especially now we're talking about September. Okay, we're into the 4th day of September and we're talking specifically about the rooster month per se.
Yes.
Feel free to comment, ask a question, even of course post something that you'd like to share with us that's related to today's topic
Yeah,
also.
so we say a bit soft though, okay? Amy say it is super clear, okay? But actually, Suk-Yi mentioned that it's a bit soft. Right, maybe we need to use our normal Gong Yu Jessie voice.
Can I? We
Shout
can speak a
louder
little louder.
until people come and complain.
Same time zone as Malaysia, so it's not 5 p.m. yet. I think we are okay when
Yeah.
it comes to the noise
Okay,
level.
so when Gong Yu can actually
Yes.
share, okay,
Let me
this
do
week
that
itself,
first.
our purpose of today's live itself is to actually share the forecast of September. What are we expecting in terms of energy, okay, in this month, okay, in this particular month, or to be exact, okay, once we transit officially into the rooster month, okay, based on Chinese Metaphysics, alright? So this is a month where, okay, the celebrations of like mid-autumn and all that. So what are we expecting in terms of energy, and how is it going to impact us, okay, as individual? How is it going to affect us, okay, based on our own party chart? And of course, Gong Yu, okay, being Gong Yu, he will also share, alright, some understanding, okay, from the Western astrology part, right?
Yes.
Alright,
I love
okay.
that. Right, so shall we start? Or
Yes, please.
Okay, yeah.
Go ahead.
As we get
Yeah.
started, right? Or speaker of share, if you can take a moment to share, right? This feeds out to your timeline. That will be wonderful because today we are talking about how best to approach the month of the
Yes.
Yo month, the Earth Wisdom month, and the expectations, and also with the expectations, how best we can actually make full use of the energies for the month.
Yeah.
To maximize
Yes.
the autumn season.
Okay, so I will let Gong Yu start first, okay, with his sharings. He has prepared himself for this, and I will chip in every now and then, okay, while looking at the comments here. Everyone says hi, okay. So those of you who are actually following, okay, from Gong Yu's page, okay, hi, Tai Yok Wei is that. And also those of you who are following from my page, okay, thank you for tuning in. I know it's a Sunday. We'll try to actually keep this as fast as possible to share you all the important information about the energy for the month so that all of you can go out for dinner.
Okay.
Alright.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
So yeah. So the Earth Wisdom month, right? So that starts in a few days' time. It starts in the evening, early night hours on the 7th of September, right? Lasting till for 1 month, about the October 7th. Thereabouts. That's the duration of the actual Earth Wisdom month as well. Yeah. So a couple of things. So we're now actually approaching, as we get more into the rooster month itself, the peak of the autumn season, right? Where of course for the entire year, the metal energy is going to be the strongest. Which is interesting because if you look into totality, right, the overall metal energy is actually one of the weakest, if not the weakest element of the entire year in general. But of course now, because we are solidly moving to the peak of autumn, then this is where it is going to be actually the strongest, even though it's actually still the weakest element, right? So in my previous Facebook Live, I shared about the significance of this. In summary, right, my personal opinion is that it is actually containing a lot of potential energy, right? Looking at metal as air energy and how that is actually equating to potential, because it is not just what we extract from Earth, but it's also something that starts again after, of course, we encounter the density of Earth, which means Earth to me always represents, of course, its solid nature, right? And it's also the long-termness of Earth, represents things that are actually either of a physical structure, you can feel it, you can touch it, and things which are actually manifested already, right? Whatever it is, it doesn't have to be a physical entity that is manifested, but it's something that's taken some time to build towards. Even a successful completion of a project, if you look at it from that individual basis, it's also actually Earth energy. So then where do we start from after that? So then in the cycle of the elements, right, we extract the metal from Earth. Right? I think Jessie might have some additional things to share about that as well. But I would like to also see it as a disintegration, right? From something that is very solid. Now, if we just extend the analogy of the metal element beyond just taking it out of Earth, of course the concept is still there. But the extraction process to me can also mean, right, besides deriving learning lessons, wisdom, and the overall programming, right, has taken place to manifest the Earth, it's also taking the Earth and also disintegrating it, right, blasting it so that you begin again with potential, which is another view of how I would view metal energy or air energy, right? So now, in the traditional sense, right, getting back to the traditional Chinese astrology sense of metal, right, because it is approaching its peak, so we see that it is basically the time generally associated with what? Well, things like, number one, metal is precise, especially yin metal, right? Yin metal that's contained as the only chi in the rooster, precision and also exactness. So a lot of it has to do with evaluation and also assessment, right? What is what? How do you judge? How do you use logic, for example, right? Add things together, make sense of things. So it is also like the very left brain sort of thinking, evaluation energy of metal. So normally we associate the autumn season with this. Right, now's the time to actually look inward. Now's the time to actually assess how for example, the year has been so far. How something has been shaped up traditionally if we follow the seasons from spring, winter, spring, and then to summer. And then now's the time to look inwards and to take stock. That's another keyword, right? And also see what needs to be kept in stock and also what maybe needs to be discarded. Right? So the autumn season, typically because of the metal energy, this is the standard associations with it. And then because the rooster itself is also a peach blossom animal, right? So on additional levels to it, besides the energy of metal being at its peak, now of course again relative to the year, right? This year it is very weak, but then yet it is also about to peak in terms of how what it can reach, yeah, in terms of the metal energy itself in the rooster month also, right? So it is of course the energy of when we talk about peach blossom animal signs, it usually have to do with more extreme, right, traits, in this case in the metal energy sense, and then also in terms of its peach blossom sense. So that's why when we look into this aspect and we look into the fact that, you know, the Libra sign, for example, overlaps into this season, even though it starts only towards the end of the month, if we look at it from the calendar perspective, but it's also associated with balance, it's also associated with, besides evaluation, assessment, also how people interact. Right, so that's why it's of particular significance, because we're talking about it being a peach blossom animal sign as well, right? So that's why interaction, human interpersonal relationships will be one key theme that is going to be dominant throughout the month of September, in the rooster month, especially when we consider other aspects like the Mercury retrograde also. Right, but we'll come to that in a short moment.
Yeah.
Right, just pass it to Jessie. Anything to add on in terms of autumn, in terms of metal?
Yeah. I mean, it's like I'm trying my best to refrain myself from interjecting, okay, when Kong Yu is speaking, because you know I have that issue. It's like, okay, I'm very good into interjecting people, and it's like I can't wait to actually share. So it's like I think I did a pretty. I think I'm doing pretty good, right? Okay, this round. Okay, thanks to the coffee and also the very nauseous fright that I had. All right, so Gio. Okay, so overall, I think Kong Yu has actually mentioned, okay, that now we are actually going into the autumn, okay, almost at the peak of autumn. That's why Mid-Autumn Festival is actually in September itself, where in autumn itself, you know, the element has, Kong Yu has mentioned, it's like the strongest element is metal, okay. So overall, from my personal view of like knowing Chinese metaphysics perspective of the five element, right, I associated metal, Geng metal especially, including yin metal, as something relating to karma. Okay, I remember that one of my workshop, okay, I share, okay, regarding this, because if you really look at matter itself, now matter is something, okay, that exists on its own, but it will not, okay, in a way be out, okay, it will not be in a way extracted, or it will not be out, okay, it will not be actually turned into things, okay, on a birth of earth itself, if it's not due to humans deeds or action, okay, because you see whatever metal elements that we see are from jewelry through to weapons, okay, to anything that is made of like, you know, metal, okay, or has at least some compositions of metal itself, right, are all in a way an act of like human. We have to in a way extract it, we have to dig it, we have to polish it and make it onto something new. So therefore, okay, if you, those of you who know Chinese metaphysics, you know that especially Geng metal, the big metal itself, right, it's all relating to humans' action, okay, actions, decisions and all that. So therefore metal, I associated it, okay, with a lot of like karmic things as well, okay, because in a way that the first thing is we have to dig something, we have to create something out of it, we have to do something with it, then only this particular element itself exists, okay, in our day-to-day thing. Because when you, if you look at wood and other things, right, it will sprout out, it will come out, okay, water, okay, earth and everywhere, it's everywhere, okay, where else metal is supposed to be hidden, right, until there is certain human deeds or actions put into it. Therefore, I relate metal a lot, okay, to karmic. Okay, so therefore, if you see that again in terms of the autumn itself, right, it's the best timing for us to actually look into, of course, our karma. Okay, and whenever you talk about karmic or karma itself, right, a lot of people thought it's like, oh, is that the bad thing or whatever? But to me, it's like karmic. It just means like actions. Okay, it's a cause and effect of things. Okay, so this would be the month, okay, where a lot of all this cause and effect of things will take place. Okay, it means that whatever that in a way manifested in our life itself, okay, really depends on whatever seeds that we have sown, okay, like previously. So if you understand from this perspective, I guess that it will be a best timing, okay, all right, during this particular month, especially during the peak of autumn itself, for us to do a lot of reflections. Okay, as you know that, okay, my breakthrough workshops, I mentioned that one of our soul purpose as a soul is to get rid of the earth, is to get rid of the attachments, the heavy energies of the earth itself, okay, so that we can detach ourselves and eventually ascend our energy. So this particular month itself is Geo, okay, Geo is where earth on top, metal below, means the metal is still not attracted out yet, okay, it's still below earth itself. It has to wait until next month where the metal will be out. So it will be a good month for us now to think, okay, or dig deep within ourselves to see, to reflect, and find out the root cause or the root of all our actions or reactions that we are facing, okay, in our life right now. Okay, so that will be one of the things that I think that this particular month itself can help. And of course, one of the things that, am I taking too long?
No, go ahead.
Okay, and one of the things I realized also in a way that, okay, right, metal is also association. Now you see, those of you who know 60 jiazi, right, okay, there are altogether 60 different pillars, okay, but out of 60 pillars itself, there are only 6 pillars that's relating to what we call intelligent star. I'm sure many of you have heard about the words intelligent star, right? Man Chang Sing or whatever, Wen Chang, okay? Now, intelligent stars, okay, in a way, they only exist in 6 pillars, okay? And this 6 pillars itself, okay, coincidentally, it is actually the fire pillars, the water pillar, and the earth pillar. Alright, so these are the 3 crucial elements that comes either with, okay, the tiger or the rabbit or the monkey and the rooster. Now, monkey, rooster, means that when you see a Wushen and a Geo, which is this month itself, last month and this month, okay, these two are considered what we call intelligence pillar, all right? And if you look at back in February and March, okay, where you have Ren Yin, this year Ren Yin year, and next year Kui Mao year, that is also one of what we call the intelligence pillar. Means the pillar itself is actually sitting on its own intelligence star. Now the thing is, when we look at this, right, okay, or when I personally look at this, right, there must be a certain reason for it, okay? So this is a special year. So every pillars in this year itself, right, okay, it actually holds a very special, I would say, deeper meaning to humans' evolutions or the soul ascension. So you see, we have gone through Wushen and now up to Geo, right, okay, where you will see that it's intelligence pillar. We have to understand the meaning of intelligence probably in the first place. Nowadays, a lot of people associate intelligence into how many A's we get in exam, right? Whether we get full marks or not. That is in a way generally the meaning of intelligence. Where else, right, okay, if you see or you look back into the deeper meaning of intelligence itself, right, okay, especially from the Chinese, okay, way of looking into it, 聪明, they call it, okay, it actually requires, okay, there's the part of it that requires hearing, okay, listening. That's actually, you have what we call the ear, okay, which is part of the writings. You have the heart, which is actually part of writings, and you also have the mouth, which is actually part of writing. It means that we have to listen, we have to communicate, okay, and everything of this is actually comes from the heart as well. And then Ming itself, right, okay, brightness represents intelligence. That is the yin and yang. It means the sun and the moon. So overall, right, okay, this is a month for us to actually have this, in a way, reflections, okay, to look deeper into ourselves, to find, okay, the soul's intelligence, okay, the soul's intelligence is relating to wisdom. So it will be a good month for us to find answers to things.
Yep.
All right, keep things short.
It's also the Advancement Star Noble, right?
Mm-hmm.
Advancement Star Noble Day.
I think so.
Geo,
yeah. Geo is also Advancement Star Noble.
Yeah.
But overall, you will know that this is a month. Whenever the 60 pillar intelligence star months come in, either in the year or in the month itself, right, that particular energy of the month is the best month for us to go deeper, okay, because it's deep within the pillar itself to find answers to things.
Yeah.
All right. So let's say, for instance, like, you know, this particular month itself, it will be a great month for us to find clarity, to find answer, to find, it's like whatever it is, okay, it's either to do with your relationship, your work, your financial status, okay, your passion, your hobby, or whatever that you are in a way desired to do. Probably it will be a best month for us to go deeper into that desire and ask ourselves, why, okay, do we want this in the first place?
Correct, yeah.
Yeah.
And to add to that, this is also something that is overlapping, right, into where we are, because of course we are at the point of the month, the year rather, which is actually the rooster month once we started. And then at the same time as well, we have the phenomenon that's very common, and in a way it's talked about a lot in astrology. It is borrowed from Western astrology, but a lot of people pay attention to it because it's a lot of people have talked about it and it's quite hyped up generally. Now Mercury retrograde normally is associated more with, again, communication breakdowns, you know, lack of communication or something that doesn't quite gel, because there is a re-look back that is necessary before the step to gel or the step to communicate or to establish the communication happens, right? So that's why it will break before it can actually communicate or link again. And the process is very natural, because even though sometimes it's overhyped as like, okay, this is a month to watch out for things breaking down, you know, contracts being basically negotiations being broken, linkages which cannot be made, right? Planes and flights and all that which are missed, right? But if we look into the more meaningful part of it, is actually an opportunity, right? Of course, those still might happen, right? So you have to pay more attention to scheduling to travel and things like that, right? But on a deeper level, it is actually an opportunity to again relook and reassess. Now, the Mercury retrograde can happen at any point of the year. It happens about 3 times per year, right? But this one happening in the month of the rooster, again, it emphasizes the issues of deeper awareness, self-assessment, and also is linked to, again, communication, right? So we will see that process being very necessary and being very dominant this month, right? So where and in which parts, just relating to what Jessie has shared as well, right? That is currently being looked into and assessed on the deeper level, right? And then this process will then go through a process of evaluation, assessment, and also the process of how it fits into how you are existing within the environment of other people around you. So that's why interpersonal relationship is the rooster month, it's the peach blossom month. It again emphasizes that fact, right? What you have discovered about yourself and what you have changed about yourself based on your own personal values, which maybe you have found out more about, or maybe you have gone through the process of honoring your own personal values, your own natural talents, your skill sets, and then what you plan to do with it in the future to shape something that's new in your life with the strong energies of the year, with the strong portals of this year 2022 and moving forward into the next 6-7 years. How does that fit into the scheme of things about where you are at the moment, right? And how it relates to the people that you're with, whether they are part of your work, they're part of your family, and so on, right? So all of this is undergoing a process of adjustment, a process of assessment, adjustment. Then after the adjustment, you have to go back again. So there's big indications of this process during the Mercury retrograde period, which lasts into at least the early month of October, right? And safely actually a couple of weeks into October, right? It's going to be the dominant back and forth that's going to be taking place, right? So all of it really is very, very strong, right? Like I said, the retrograde can occur at any point of the year, right? But it having its significance at this point in time in the month of self-assessment and awareness is very, very significant. So if you are in the process of doing that, then make full use of this. Make full use of this opportunity. But if you find that you don't know what's happening and why things are changing rapidly and why things are not working out, then it is a big sign from the universe telling you to look deeper into where you are and what you're doing at this particular point in time. So that's what I have to say in terms of the process of the retrograde, right? And then also just to touch upon the deeper karmic issues, right? That we need to look into, because in fact it's dominant this entire year, I would say, right? And last year, 2021 and also 2022, and the years are still interlinked because the month of the year rather of the tiger, right? It's still, to me, bringing the energy, of course, of the ox, right? And last year, of course, the year of the ox is already bringing forth the energy of the tiger of 2022, right? So that's why this year you will still have the ox energy, which is actually being linked into the year, right? So that will relate to you if you have an ox animal sign somewhere in your parcel chart, for example, right? And it's still actually, if you are aware, it's still triggering a lot of deep karmic issues, which is again something that can be resolved at this point of the year.
And I think it would be the best again for us to make use of this particular month itself to resolve this issue by firstly extracting it, okay? Because it's like, as I mentioned, it's like the matter itself, earth, G-earth, okay, on top of like the rooster or the yo, which is matter inside. You see that this matter is still underneath the earth, okay? And where else next month comes in, the matter is out. So this is a month best to use to extract, okay? It's a month of extractions, okay? To retrieve back, okay, the cause, okay, of whatever, okay, that causes things to happen. Like, let's put it that way. All right, you can say that it's a good month for reflection. Okay, but what's the point of reflection if there's no extraction? I mean, if you know, okay, that there are certain things that's causing manifestations of some certain realities in our life. Okay, so we need to know what exactly is causing it. If this reality is not to our favor, it's not something that we like, we have to extract this seed, because this seed is growing something that we do not like. So this is the best month for us to actually do that.
Yeah, I'm
right?
just speaking of potential retrogrades, I'm just to make sure that this is going, because my side seems to be hanging.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So but seems like everyone here is like also still tuning in, right? Okay. So remember that this month itself is best for us to actually go deep into understanding and extract out whatever seeds that are growing or give us the effect or causing us the effect of certain realities that we are not in favor with. Okay, so you have to start looking at what are the things that's happening in our life right now, that somehow puts us into a position situation where, of course, we are bothered by more negative emotions rather than positive emotions, okay? I say, for instance, we react in frustrations, anger, jealousy, okay, tantrums, emotional sadness or whatever. We try to actually now go down and extract the seeds of all these emotions. What could have caused it in the first place? All right,
Okay.
so why don't you continue? Because apparently the feeds are okay, right?
Yeah, just want to make sure, right? So if you're watching from the Kongyu page, right? So you can just give me some confirmation because
yeah, maybe the girls
from
can
my
check, okay,
device.
from news place as well. Yeah, they have checked. It's okay. Probably it's just a laptop.
All right. Okay. So yeah. So yes. Again, so many indications here, right? And technically speaking, so I'm actually seeing this as, again, if we look into the entire year, right? So this is more a bit of the faster technical side of things for those who are interested, who are watching right now, right? So we've got the whole year, the tiger, and the tiger year is here the entire year. So remember that. And if we keep in mind what are the shadow energies, which are actually bringing the tiger carries with it. So obviously one is the pig, then the second one is actually there are a few, but one of it is the ox, right? So that's why an ox has to do again with the last animal sign, position of it being in the last part of the winter season, and it's actually an opportunity to clear a lot of things. But awareness is important. That means when a person is not aware, or maybe doesn't follow astrology or metaphysics overall, it can be a deep-seated denial, right? Or it could actually be something that's bugging this person, or somehow triggering this person subconsciously to still, in a way, cause things to not be smooth, blockages, for example, right? Or maybe changing focus, or maybe there's some sort of blockage that's still there that is subconsciously manifesting.
Yeah, and bear in mind when we talk about the tiger and the ox itself, it's not exactly onto the 6 combination, right? Okay,
Yeah.
because it's like if you're not a practitioner, you might not even know that this particular combination exists.
Yeah.
Okay, it's actually part of the secret combo or hidden combo, right? There is the interaction happening between
right.
the tiger and also the ox.
Yes,
Yeah.
and because it's a hidden combo, right? So there's actually a lot of depth to it.
Yeah.
Right. There's a lot of subconscious related sort of issues to that. But in a nutshell, okay.
Yeah.
So that's why. But now's the chance to convert that, because the ox is the earth. That is the density, and that's the perhaps the karma to be let go of, to be released, right? But now's the chance to convert that, right? Either into a lesson that is brought forward, and hopefully not something that is going to be brought forward to reoccur and to loop again, like Jessie has always shared. When it comes to the ox animal sign, and this month, because it's interacting with the rooster, right, which is the family of the metal element itself, right? So it's got a high chance of resolving, transforming, shall we say? Right, so that's why it's a great month to also talk about that. Yeah? And additionally to that, also something that I can share as well, that if it's related to something that you've been working on this year, right? It could be a project, it could be a relationship, it could be something, it could be a personal belief or perspective, right? And you've been trying to inject life to it. If it's a project, it's easier to relate to that way. You're trying to reinvigorate or re-inject back life into maybe a business, right, that has suffered through the pandemic. Yes, you've been trying the whole year to do it and not making super progress. Now might be the time to, in fact, completely let that go, right? Or somehow to completely give it an ending so that things can start again as well.
Yeah.
Right? So this is an additional thing that can happen, right? If it's related to your life at this particular moment, right? But then again, I also see, right, that there is a lot of potential of restarting. So if you are in a position that you've already gone through the awareness, the breakthroughs, and so on, now I think you can start to see it, right? Something that is you related to something that you want to build and restart, because we're transforming earth into metal.
Yeah.
And again, I see it as a broader perspective of extracting what is useful to be learned and carried forward. You can also store that because it's also related to programming and memory, right? Or you can actually discard it if it doesn't work anymore, right?
And
So-
do bear in mind also, because it's like, we are entering into autumn, and that once we actually pass by our summer solstice itself, right? Okay, right, the
Autumn
yang
solstice.
and previously
Previously.
summer solstice, okay?
Yeah.
Once summer solstice we have passed by, okay, right, every day itself is like counting or a step nearer to the dark. Okay, right, every day and night, the yin and yang, okay, that's happening is like we are stepping into the dark, right? And now, okay, right, once we go into the autumn, okay, right, the mid-autumn itself, right, okay, where you will see that, okay, the moon takes preceding more than the sun. That's why it's like Chinese, we celebrate the moon, okay? Why they emphasize on the moon? Supposedly in autumn moon itself is the biggest, okay? Because why itself is because it's like the yin energy is stronger than the yang, and it will get stronger all the way towards winter. All right, so in other words itself, right, okay, the chances is, okay, they will be somehow the opportunities or the chances that we might need to actually walk in the dark, where you see that there are, in a way, absence of fire energy, okay, that's coming up in these few months itself. So with that absence of fire energy itself, right, okay, what we call walking in the dark. Walking in the dark doesn't mean that the sun is not rising anymore, lah, okay, but you know, in terms of spiritually, okay, right, the chances is we might be walking in the dark. That means that suddenly that feelings of loss, the feeling of uncertainty, the challenge of, like, in a way of like questioning ourselves, as in like, what exactly are we doing, okay, from whatever perspective that is in our life itself. Now that comes as a challenge, okay, so it requires persons with, like, in a way, like, how would say, okay, it's like inner light, okay, the person who are very clear, a person who are very aware, okay, of this, to be able to actually pull through the whole tunnel. It's like, as if that we are now going through the tunnel, you know, and the light at the end of the tunnel won't come back out until probably after winter solstice.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's how the energy are actually going. And of course, like Kong Yu has already mentioned, again, in terms of the planetary retrogrades, that's not helping either. Okay, everything seems to be like misaligned. Everything seems to be, like, in a way, miscommunicated, right? The chances is like people also tend to get more emotional, okay, but always remember, Geo, okay, is actually a pillar for us to discard. Remember, as if, like, no, this is like the raw gemstones, the raw metal, okay, that somehow we need to excavate it out, okay, but it's still dirt, filled of dirt, okay, filled with you know, a lot of things that probably for people who are not clear, who are not expert into identifying it, they can't even know, or they won't even know that it's a piece of diamond that is inside this dirt itself, okay, so therefore awareness, clarity is very important.
Yeah. And that's why in this, that's why you know, I was talking a little bit about how we can see this as a period of raw potential, because it will only really shape itself up once we go into the end of winter and into first spring and start 2023, right? The Kueh Mao year. So that's when things will really start to be actively active and also more manifested. When you start to see more signs, but in this period, it's a tremendous opportunity for us to realize all of that, clean out what needs to be cleaned up, and then the potential that this period offers is really, really strong, because there are also indications of that. But it's very raw, so that means it's really fresh ideas, for example, that come, fresh thoughts, fresh perspectives, reprogramming the mind. Right? All of these are the opportunities that this current period, even though in terms of outward progress, in terms of like getting things moving and all that, it's not so supported when at this point in time, right? And in fact, for the rest of the year, but the potential that what this timing and this period can lead to, if we are able to tap into it and we're able to work on something that's new, whether it's a perspective, it's a belief, or something that it's a concept, an idea that you have for a business, and how you want to shape your career, for example. This is really, again, a very good time to start. So that's the sort of like the positive potential that's available at the moment, and keep that in mind, because it is definitely a more, how shall we say, a more positive way into looking at the very strong inward energies that we have now.
Okay, all right. Anything else from your side that you want to share?
That is the sort of the core, right, in terms of what I have. And do you have anything to add to this?
I mean, I would just say that in a nutshell, as I mentioned, okay, because we have actually gone through, okay, somehow special enough that this year we have 4 months, okay, which is actually in a way filled up with like intelligent star pillar out of 60 家子, okay. So I would just say that this is actually the last month, okay, of this so-called intelligent star that falls under the mid-autumn. I would just remember that, okay, just if you know Chinese, 聪明, which is the intelligent star part of like the meaning of intelligence itself, right? It actually has the ear. So always remember that don't just like hear, okay, don't just hear say, okay, just listen, all right? And then you have the mouth, but don't just talk, communicate, all right? And then you have the heart. It means that link, okay, whatever that you're listening deep into your heart and whatever that you're communicating deep into your heart, okay? Right, both in the yang side and the yin side, because Ming in Chinese is like Yat Yut, is the sun and the moon. Means don't only look at the good side of things and don't only look at like the bright side of things. Try to actually look for answers in the darkness as well, because that is where the moon is, the dark is, okay? Because a lot of times, okay, people tends to go where the light is, but the real answer lays within the dark. Alright, so overall, this is the best month for us to actually equip ourselves and remind ourselves to do that and move towards that direction.
Yeah. Right, so we were talking about the importance of the yin, the moon cycle to things, right? So this is the month, technically speaking, where the sun sets and then the moon starts to rise. So this again adding that layer to it. So this is a perfect time, like I was saying, to change beliefs and to just shift perspectives overall, right? So one of the ways that we can do this, of course, is to work on assessment of where we are at the moment, and then of course work on then reprogramming what needs to be reshaped and reprogrammed, right? So besides, of course, my program Reprogram to Manifest in period 9. So in case you don't know already, I put a link to today's forecast for September, right? So your chance to realign to manifest. So this is a sub-program that I've created that came out of my curating the Reprogram to Manifest program, but I didn't have enough space within that one-day workshop to include this portion because it works a little differently. It looks into the chakra system, right, and how we can use our own personal paths to interpret more into the chakra functionings, right? Something that if you've been taking the meditation workshops that Jessie has done, if you were in Rise to Try, for example, then Jessie has also shared one layer of that. Right, but in Realign to Manifest, we'll look into the chakra functioning and the balance of the chakras a little deeper, right, using the Vata astrology, and then seeing how those balance affect how we want to shape our future and how we want to actually manifest. So if you're interested in it, the link is there. I hope to see you there for that half-day, 3-hour workshop. Right, that's happening on September the 25th.
And I think it's good that you brought up, in terms of the workshop Realign to Manifest, because it talks about a lot of the chakras, and then the importance of any of these chakras which is blocked, right? It's like, all the time, not most of the time, all the time it is blocked by fear. Alright, so this will be the best month itself, for us to work towards that, because you say everyone is fearful of the dark. Everyone is afraid of the dark. This is natural human psychology. So it's like when we are entering into the phase of energy where we are stepping into the dark, it's the best for us to actually find awareness and clarity from that by looking into our metaphysical charts, to see what exactly are our fear. Example, just to put a bit of example here, like this month, the rooster month. If you have a certain animal signs in your chart, right, that can actually trigger your fear into that perspective. As you can see, rooster itself, you have a combinations with a dragon. Now, a lot of time people feels that, if a combination is a good thing, but not for the person who are not ready, right? Let's say, for instance, if you have a dragon in your chart, so you have a dragon-rooster interaction that's going on, due to the combinations itself, right, it can trigger the fear of commitment. Right, the fear of commitment, the fear of, in a way, getting out from your comfort level or your comfort zone, especially if it requires to deal with a lot of commitment. So the chances is like you will see a certain pattern of people reacts in their life, especially in this month itself, you have a dragon, right? The chances is they are running away from commitment. Now, if you do not commit yourself, you are not up to the challenge. You are not, in a way, having the courage to step up your game so that you can actually be better. Now, overall, if you talk about what other things clash, whatever that clash with rooster is the rabbit. So if you have a rabbit in your chart, anywhere in your chart itself, when this month comes itself, right, it tests you in terms of a fear of fear of change. You're afraid to make changes in your life, and you know that without change we won't evolve. Without change we won't grow. So you will see that a lot of things will be manifested in your life itself, right? That somehow pushes you to change. Like it can be last minute changes of things, a flight got cancelled, Example is things just happen in your life that will trigger this particular fear itself, But the thing is, if we do not understand and we do not see this, as part of the clarity, or if we do have, a certain blockages in our chakras that holds on to this particular seed of fear, and we do not get rid of it, these things will somehow loop into our life, especially in this one itself, right? To impact us, okay, negatively. That's when it's like we'll be looping in that cycle of like the effect of things. It's like why things turn out, okay, negatively, and why things turn out in a way not into our favor, okay. So we have to find it out. So I think the workshop itself, the purpose is to actually find out, okay, what are the misalignment of the chakras.
Yeah.
All right. So
and that's why the potential, that's why I was saying, you know, like you talk about the more, how to say, the more upbeat, positive parts of this period of the year, right? Which is more again inward and can be much more yin, like shall we say, right? So that's why the opportunities to create something that's completely new is there. But of course, it's only with those people who have made the necessary changes, who have undergone, you know, major changes, especially in the early part of the year and so on, and those who are not holding on based on fear.
yeah.
Right?
Okay.
So that's why that's another way to sort of embrace change in a more positive way.
I mean, overall, you will know, like, if you have a rooster in your chart, this particular month itself will brings or emphasizes on the self-punishment, right? Okay, and self-punishment, it actually manifests in a lot of, like, self-love issue, right? So it's like, you know, you have a rooster in your chart, right? Okay, things will actually, like, unfolds this particular month itself, impact you, okay, energetically, to teach you the lessons of self-love, okay? What are the things that you've been doing to yourself that is self-sabotaging? All right, and all these are relating to the chakras, all right? So therefore, I find that, okay, this particular workshop that is in a way focusing on the chakras itself is very, very important, especially for this month. Now, what else are the relationships that I'll talk about? Destruction.
Yeah, but you mentioned dragon, right? And I also, you know, that's where I also see the perspective. Jessie mentioned it more in terms of a fear of commitment, isn't it? So, but again, it's an opportunity that if you do commit, right, it's the potential for you to birth something that's new.
Of course, okay, but the thing is, if we are still hold on with that seed of fear, okay, that is still within us, even opportunity arises itself, we don't see it as an opportunity. We will run away from it. Alright, so that's the issue, I would say. Alright, so if you look at even the rats, if you have a rat in your chart, you have a destruction. So destructions are normally a trigger or a challenge for people with the fear of, like, in a way, like what we call, it's like letting go. Alright, destruction is because in order to destroy, we have to destroy the old so that the new can actually comes into our life. Okay, so if you have a fear of letting go, alright, you will suffer from its consequences. So if you have a rat in your chart, right, okay, this month it is supposed to show you towards that particular lesson. Alright, so at harm, if you have a dog in your chart, okay, so this particular month itself, right, will actually in a way be a test for you in terms of your power. Power in the sense of, like, okay, why do we feel harm? Is because we choose or we make a choice to stay small, okay? We make a choice to stay powerless, alright? So the harm itself comes in terms of our voice, okay? Why we feel harm is because we decided to swallow in back our voice, okay? So if you have a dog, okay, the chances is circumstances will happen either in terms of work, relationship, friendship, even within your neighbors or whatsoever. You tend to get, like, in a way, suppressed or bullied or whatever things that might happen to test you how powerful you are with your voice of standing up for yourself. Alright, so all these things will actually in a way be manifested in this particular month itself to show you or to try to in a way wake you up to see that, hey, okay, you have this issue. But the thing is, how many of us really have the awareness to see, okay, the lessons or the opportunity to grow behind these scenarios, okay? And that is also the purpose why we need to find out our fear base, okay? And all our fear base are trapped within our chakra areas.
Lower chakras.
Yeah.
That's right.
All right.
Yes.
So yeah.
So yeah, wonderful. So that's a little additional information based on those animal signs which are affected, right? You know, in your whole Bata chart, so you can use that as well for further guidance on how best you can actually should approach this particular CEO or the Earth Booster month, right?
So overall, just ensure that yes, okay, so at times of this month itself, we have not even officially like stepped into it, but you might feel that you are almost like metaphorically saying that you are stepping into the dark. All right, you might feel that. But the thing is, remember, it's just an illusion, okay? Because it is actually in a way triggering whatever seeds of fear that you already have inside, all right? Just have the clarity, brave up yourself, have the courage, and to let yourself know that keep on walking forward, okay? Because if not, the chances is you retract, okay? But once you retract yourself, it gets darker. It's not it's not getting brighter. Because you see, you cannot stop time now because we are entering into the dark already. But you cannot stop now, you know. In order for us to actually see back the light we have to walk towards the end of the tunnel, which is only happening in winter solstice. Means we have to walk this stretch, whether you like it or not. And then by then, you will see much more clarity.
That's right.
All right.
So make full use of it. It's a very powerful. It's such a, you know, I was doing all this analysis as I approached, well, it must have been sometime during August, right, during our Egypt trip, and then after that there was a couple of weeks where we were actually at home base in KL for the 2 weeks, right? And then I started layering on all this information, and it's so much, right? Of course, a lot of it I shared in my previous Facebook Live topic that I did in KL, so do view that if not managed to catch that, right? And then of course in today's session as well. What a powerful September Easter month this is.
Yeah. Okay. It is very powerful if we know how to harness and tap into its power. If not, it will be equally powerful to doom us, you know. It's the same.
That's
all
right.
right. So if we in a way have not harnessed that power, we do not know how to use it, this power itself can doom us. That's why you will see more and more people will feel like demotivated, more and more people will feel depressed, more and more people will feel that there is like the end of the line, that they don't see hope, they don't see like no way any like clarity in their life anymore. Remember, those are illusions, okay? Don't even fall for that, all right? No matter how shitty you feel, right, this particular month itself, okay, it's just a process. Keep pushing through, all right? Eventually you'll be able to see the light at the end of the tunnel.
Right.
All right.
Some signs and symptoms, right? Just to share on the practical level is that watch out for self-destructive behavior,
Yes.
right? Bad habits, right? And escapism type things.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Because whatever that we do, the chances is, okay, our ego or our fear will try to pull us back. Okay, we will actually in a way pull us back to retract or retreat back, okay, to our old self rather than braving ourselves to move forward. Now that's the first sign of no, because if we continue to give in to this, we will never grow as a person.
Right.
All right. So yeah,
I think we're but
okay.
thank you so much. So that's some hellos.
Yep,
right? And
hellos,
acknowledgements.
Okay. Oh, Hui Yi is there. Okay, thanks for sharing, Jessie and Kong Yu. Thank you, Hui Yi.
Thank
Okay,
you,
the other
Hui.
day I was just saying.
We were just talking about you.
Yeah, we were just talking about you. We were just saying, okay, my previous Bali trip, you were here, okay, with us, right? And so happened that Queenie is in Bali, you know. Queenie, so we met up with Queenie, okay, the other day as well. All right, so thank you so much to all of you, okay, who have just tuned in. For those of you who are waiting for consultations, again, my parts of consultations, yeah, okay, once we check in here, these few days will be work, so I'll be in a way be slotting in consultations as well. Now, if you have not put in your name, don't put in. I have no time.
To be clear, to be clear, only for those who are already on the waiting list.
Yeah, on the waiting list, please, okay? So it's like if you have not, okay, in a way arranged, okay, any consultations with Nicole or any of my team, do not put your name in because, yeah, I cannot slot in any slots for you, okay? So these are for the waiting list. They have waited ever since June.
So that will be moving.
Okay. Yeah, so we will be
during this
allocating,
trip,
okay, during this particular trip itself. All right, so thank you so much.
Thank you so much, everyone. Hello to, and thank you so much for joining us. Annie Hart, right, watching from Singapore. Thank you. Hi, Melissa, and also Al. Okay, any further?
Yeah. I think here is like there's here, okay, but I couldn't read the name because it's I think it's in Japan, okay, Japanese. Yeah. So here, okay, Belle Rose,
we got a few people watching from the
Karen
Philippines.
Chia as well, right? Chop Lailin say good day as well. Thank you so much to all of you. Have a great evening ahead. Okay, enjoy your dinner.
That's right.
Where we will start exploring because we have just checked in. We have like don't know what to expect here. Okay, we have to start exploring this place, which will be our workplace for the upcoming 5 days.
So it's assessment, it is consultation, it's all these yin things of the rooster month and the environment that we're in, right? And also some study also.
It's Melanie watching from Japan. Okay, it's Melanie. Hi Melanie, thank you for tuning in. All right, take care. All right, all of you. Right, hope to see you in one of our workshop, especially in Kong Yu's workshop. Okay, coming up soon in September. All right, bye bye.
Check in with you next time for our next feed, our special topics and so on and so forth, right?
Yeah. All right.
Thanks everyone.
Bye.
Blessed September Rooster Month to you. Bye bye.